What's up, everybody? Welcome into today's episode of the Vendetta Sports Media Daily Show. It is Tuesday, August 22nd. Jerry Walker alongside me is Jackson Fyda. And whenever the two of us are here, it's going to be an episode pretty much all about soccer. And it
Of
is once
course.
again. Jackson, we had some great finals this weekend. Got myself up really early Sunday morning to watch the Women's World Cup final. Stayed up not too late, but late enough after an exciting Leagues Cup final match.
hmm
But before we jump in, how you doing? Know you go back to school tomorrow. You excited? Soccer season's right around the corner for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. Here's the sad thing about the point I am at in life. I'm excited for school to start because that means preseason ends. And preseason is absolute murder. It has basically been 2.5 weeks straight with no days off, of two, at least two, sometimes four trainings a day. My body's fatigued. I hate life. I've been snapping at my girlfriend the last few days. It's been like, God, I just gotta get there, get there, get there. And I'm like, yes, school starts. So I actually hate that I'm at that point in my life where school starting was actually a great thing. Because I love soccer, love it to death, but Jesus Christ, when you're going that much, it sucks ass. But made it through it, and I'm back, and I'm able to actually post again. I'm able to get some stuff done.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah.
soccer coverage team is still going strong.
hmm
It is pretty much just Jackson and I doing it, even more
Yes,
so
sir.
hitting on the writing side. Well, we're getting stuff done. We will get back in the groove of things here
Uh,
shortly. But Jackson, let's hop into some of the action. Saturday night, the CONCACAF Leagues Cup final took place. Nashville SC hosting Inter Miami, the Cinderella story to an extent. Worst team in the MLS Eastern Conference, making a run, and ultimately it went down to the wire.
hmm
Some
Yeah.
guy named Lionel Messi opened the scoring for Inter Miami, 23rd minute. He just found a little space of grass and drilled the ball home. There was nothing anyone on Nashville could have done about it. It was pure Messi class. We've seen him do so many times before.
Yeah, that Messi fella's he's all right. He's all right. Might he might be able to do some decent things, but he's actually unreal. Like all joking aside, he's actually unreal. That goal, oh my gosh! To start it off, gets the ball off to the who tried to play. It was Taylor, right? Who tried to play for Messi, I think, and then deflects out to him, takes a touch, skins Walker Zimmerman, which I mean, go figure. But then it rifles it into the top. I guess it wasn't top corner, but it was curling away and great finish. Got the scoring started off early. What minute was that?
23rd.
23rd minute. So that kind of got things going. And I actually hate that I did this, but I kind of fell asleep for like half of this game on my couch. I knocked out and missed the Nashville equalizer and woke up and I was like, no way, it's 1-1. But yeah, Fafa Pico, the man from Haiti, got the equalizer. I still think Nashville. I know you could probably speak on this better than I can, but is pretty good team with some pretty damn good fan support. So wasn't surprised at all that they got the equalizer.
No, Nashville, I mean, I've been to a couple of their matches this season. Only won one, and that was that Minnesota 5-0 drubbing. Atmosphere was great for that, but Geodis is the biggest soccer purpose stadium in the country with a little over 30,000. It was packed to the brim for this match against Miami. I was trying to get a ticket, little more than I was willing to spend, especially when around kickoff I looked, thinking, oh, prices might have dropped once the match started. Nah, it was $700 for the cheapest. Not worth it. I
Nope.
stayed at home, watched the first half on my computer, then ultimately watched the last 10 minutes and the penalty shootout on another person's computer because I was following the UFC fights.
Fair enough.
Good time nonetheless. But Nashville, they, from what I did see, they were the better of the two teams
Uh huh.
in that first half. Before Messi scored, it seemed like Nashville was going to be the one controlling everything. They were the ones playing better, and it just wasn't to be in that first half. Miami obviously has the better player. Nashville is the far better team, and I think if this was one of those ones that it went to extra time instead of straight to penalties, Nashville would have gotten the win.
I agree.
There was some little controversy, I know, from at least Nashville side of things. At least the fans here thought so. Was could have potentially had a red card, something that we'd seen earlier in the tournament be given as a red, but it wasn't this time. Miami almost went down to 10, but didn't. Is what it is. Can't hate it for that. But I was impressed with Nashville. Again, with all the odds against him, there was no one really wanted to see them even succeed at all in this one.
Oh no.
It wouldn't benefit the MLS, wouldn't benefit Apple, wouldn't benefit Adidas. The world wants Messi to win another trophy and went down to penalties, but he did get it done.
Yeah.
In the end, he slotted it home and wins his 44th trophy, making him the winningest player of all time, passing Dani Alves for 43.
Think about how absurd that is. You've won 44 trophies. How many have I won? Not 44. Maybe real important ones. Maybe I won a semi-pro one this summer. So we got one. He's won 44 major trophies. That is crazy.
Yeah. And it's all in Spain, Paris, I guess now one in Miami, and then Argentina, where he won some. What was that trophy he won last year?
I don't know, some weird,
it's like
not important,
the
middle of the season break thing. It's like the NBA tournament in the middle of the season.
Yeah, that's right, because it was right in the middle of the season. I think it was the World Cup. Distracted us all from the Premier League season, the La Liga season.
Yeah, it's the reason Arsenal didn't win the league. We'll say that.
Yeah, you could say that, but well, I mean, Holland didn't have to play at all in the World Cup.
That's true.
Unfair bias. We'll see. But no, all joking again aside, it's absurd. He is the best player in the world.
Best player in history. I will say that.
Yeah, I will say he's the GOAT now at this point.
You can't argue it. I mean, Ronaldo fanboys need to shut the hell
up. I wouldn't have argued Ronaldo.
You can't. No, they still do, dude. They come out of force. I don't know how you can't. He's won more trophies. He's won the World Cup.
Ronaldo has the Saudi World Cup over him. That little.
Yeah, whatever that crap was. Can you watch the highlights of that game, by the way?
So bad.
It was terrible. And they're trying to say the Saudi League's better than the MLS. I'm not here saying the MLS is elite, but the Saudi League, besides the aging stars they have, is terrible.
Yeah.
First shot in that game was maybe one of the worst shots I've ever seen. I think that dude was their captain for Al Hilal. That was one of the worst shots I've ever seen in my life. I think my dad would have gotten better with wearing his sandals. I think he would have hit a better shot than what I saw from him.
Yeah, it's an absolutely brutal league, but we can hop back into our rant on the Saudi League in a second. I do want to talk about this amazing penalty shootout before we do, because it went 11 rounds. We saw 11 players go, and at the end of the day, it came down to the goalkeepers. Because let me walk you through it. Messi scores the second best player in the entire league's cup for it, Hani Mukhtar, who's the MLS leading scorer at the moment with 13 goals. It's something I think Messi could potentially catch, which is
very soon.
But he scored his first penalty. Nashville missed their second. So Miami had a chance to win it on their fifth penalty. It was at 4-3. A goal would have won it, but Victor Ulloa did not get it done.
Nope.
And sure enough, Nashville scores, makes it 4-4. Then we go perfect for the next 5 rounds each. 6th round, the 11th round total, we get the goalkeepers taking penalties, and Miami went first. Drake Callender with arguably what you were saying before, the best penalty we've seen in
you
years.
Can't save that. You can't save that. Harry Kane's in the Euro final is still the best penalty I've ever actually seen in my life, because that thing was rising all the way into the top corner. But a penalty like this from Callender is also unsavable. The way he hit it, because he rifled it as hard as he could, and it literally hit the top of the net. You don't save that. It's a terrible penalty to take, because the odds of you missing are astronomically higher than if you actually try to place it. But if you score it, especially if you're a keeper, I mean, fair play.
Yeah, there's no doubt at all. And he did what Nashville's goalkeeper, Elliot Panico, could not do. Ended up having his saved, and that was all she wrote. Inter Miami won the League's Cup in the first. Honestly, this is the first time I've really followed any of these MLS sort of tournaments. Maybe follow the playoffs a bit when that's on. That's more because I like watching the playoffs of sports. This one, never really followed the CONCACAF Champions League. I got into this one partially because of the guy that ultimately helped kind of lift the trophy.
Yeah, kind of.
I love that. Lionel Messi, now that he's there, he gets given the captaincy. DeAndre Yedlin was the former captain, but Messi's like, no, you lift the trophy, or maybe I'll help you lift it. Shows that he actually cares about being there. I don't think we would have seen that at PSG
Nope.
at all.
Picked it up. He would have picked it up.
He
You let
seems
Yedlin share the trophy with him. DeAndre Yedlin. That's all.
he seems like he's enjoying playing in Miami, playing with all the guys there, and they seem like they're enjoying playing with him as well. But hard not to be enjoying playing with the best player of all time.
Yeah, kind of hard to argue with that. I mean, think about some of these guys. You play college soccer, you go to the MLS, and you get to train every day with the best player of all time. Think about that. That's crazy.
I mean, I think it was you who might have said that you knew someone who you played club with at some point who plays for St. Louis now.
Oh no, we played against him in college.
Oh, played against him in college, yeah. And now he's going to go up against Lionel Messi.
Yeah,
that's outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, props to anyone there. It's just going to be another highlight for the Argentine. But I do want to talk a little bit before we move on to the Women's World Cup final about what do you expect of Inter Miami the rest of this MLS season?
Ooh, yeah. First of all, this is a post. This is going to be a post, but they're not going to get first. They're too far back. Right now, they're in 15th place. They have 18 points. Right now, Cincinnati's in first place with 51 points. So they ain't catching them.
It's mathematically impossible, I believe.
Yeah. All you need to do, though, is get in the top 9, and you're in the playoffs. I think those are the wild card ones.
Yeah, 8 and 9 are a wild card
for
the final play-in, and then it's top 7 otherwise goes.
So they're 14 points off of that. They do have 2 games in hand because they obviously couldn't play their MLS games right now because they were going forward with the Leagues Cup. So say you win those 2 games, you're within 8 points. It is very, very feasible that they make playoffs this year. I would bet they do because right now they look like the best team in the MLS. Now, maybe that was just the fact that it's a competitive tournament. Maybe they will slow down in league play. But I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they will. And I could honestly see them avoiding the wild card and just getting in those top first few 7 places. I could 100% see that. They've got a lot of ground to make up. But right now, I just don't think anyone can really stop them.
No.
You know?
I agree. And it is going to be interesting to see what happens because they also have the U.S. Open Cup still ongoing.
Playing Cincinnati.
Yeah, but it's not out of the question. Messi wins the treble in the U.S. after only playing half a season.
Can you imagine that? First of all, the MLS will get clowned, but whatever. I think that's more a reflection of how good he is than MLS. But
I mean, I realistically think if they can get into the playoffs, they are a threat to win the whole thing.
They just have to get in.
It's a matter of actually making it in, and we'll see. That's harder task done, but they do have a relatively not crazy difficult schedule the rest of the way. Playing a lot of teams that are outside of those playoff spots, they could win. They play Charlotte, who are outside, New York Red Bulls, New York City, Toronto. Still have to play all those teams. Do have to play some of the better teams in Cincinnati, LAFC, who's been on fire, Atlanta, not great, not bad, Orlando, and Nashville again. So
yeah,
they have their work cut out for them, but I think it's one of those things that once Messi gets into a knockout stage, he finds a different gear, especially here. And like I said, Harry Mukhtar leads the league in goals with 13. I could see Messi scoring 13, 14, and 11 games. Might not be enough to win the Golden Boot, but at least give Mukhtar a run for his money.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Also worth pointing out with going back to the U.S. Open Cup, they're in the semifinals right now.
Yeah.
So Messi can win not 1, but 2 trophies within a few months of his arrival in the U.S.
He's played 7 matches so far?
Mm-hmm.
The 8. Technically, I guess he could win because I don't know when the final of that U.S. Open Cup is.
I know it's earlier. It's still like relatively early. I want to say it's in September at some point.
Oh yeah, end of September, September 27th. So he will have played an MLS game by then. I was going to say, could potentially he win 2 trophies within his first 10 matches? Might be his first dozen matches in the U.S. He could have 2 trophies.
Crazy.
Absolutely ridiculous. It's. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else we can really say about him. He's that good.
Throw your hands up. Don't say anything. Sit back. Enjoy it while he's here.
Yeah, because we don't know how long it is.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm hoping at least a year and a half.
My thinking is he'll be obviously this year. The next summer, the Copa Americas is in the U.S. I think he plays the first half of the MLS season, plays the Copa Americas, plays the second half, and then depending on what happens in Copa, because I don't know if he'll play the next World Cup in 2 years' time. That seems like a stretch. But
you know what could be fun is him retiring with his boyhood club in Argentina. That's kind of what I want to see. I want to see him go back to Newell's old boys.
Go right to Newell's. Play at the Marcelo Bielsa Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that'd be cool. I just think logistically of him going back to Argentina would be virtually impossible, only because of the lack of security and all the issues that come along in that aspect. Who knows? That would be a really cool thing to see. I'd love to see him retire in Argentina, but who knows?
Mm.
Oh no. Moving on to the other final this weekend. One I was a little more disappointed about. England, Spain in the Women's World Cup final. Spain ultimately wins 1-0, and they deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Spain was by far the better team. I don't know if you were up to watch that at all, but Spain was much, much, much better. And not everything England could do wrong. They kind of did, but Spain was just much better coached, much better game plan, and everything went their way. Ended up with Olga Carmona getting the winner in the 29th minute. England had some chances. England did save a penalty. Mary Eaps had a huge save to keep that 1-0, but it just wasn't enough. Spain are the Women's World Cup champions for the first time ever, and only the 5th nation to lift that trophy.
Yeah. So, honestly, we look at, again, I think we made this point on a previous Daily Show episodes, but like when you look at the way that women's football has been evolving around the world, it makes sense that these two teams would play in the final because I think they've done the best job. You know, Spain gets so many fans to go to its women's games. England, women's soccer is becoming very popular, very huge. So it makes sense that these two teams were here. And Spain's good. We were saying this before the tournament, that Spain is good. Obviously that Japanese, like the Japan game, that was a fluke, I'd have to say, because they still dominated the game and ultimately lost 4-0, which like never happens, but it did that time. But apart from that, they've kind of outclassed everyone they played. Even the Japan game, they outclassed them, but kind of hard to say that when you lose 4-0. But Spain's good. The way they've developed their women's national team is very impressive. And honestly, I think the U.S. has some ground to make up now because I think Spain, England, all these teams are better. They've developed their leagues better. I think the way they have their league system over there is far better than our women's system here. Great game. Like, it makes sense that those two teams would play each other in the final. And, yeah, unfortunately, Spain showed up when it mattered. And, they got the win. Olga Carmona's 29th minute goal. Won it for her. And also, shout out for her right now. I hope she's doing all right because scoring the winning goal of the World Cup, then finding out right after the game that your father died. I don't know. That's got to be the craziest shift in emotions that anyone could ever have.
It has to be insane. I mean, shout out to her. I mean, I guess there's a reason they didn't tell her necessarily beforehand, but the fact that she went out and did it and then found out after, it's just insane.
Thoughts and prayers to her, man. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. The other thing I do want to quickly get your thought on about surrounding this Spain team is Did you see what was happening at the end when they were getting all their medals before the trophy
Yeah, yeah.
with the chief of Spanish football giving the World Cup players kisses on their lips? Seemed
Mm.
very, very unprofessional, and some of the players are very, very upset. It was labeled as unacceptable, disgusting, kind of outrageous that he was doing these things. And
I, bro, why is it
this is
always?
Spain has
No,
had so many issues
yeah.
recently with this women's side, but let's just adds it up. Go ahead.
It's always these old white dudes, man, who just I like. Remember when who was it who won the Ballon d'Or and someone said twerk at the ceremony?
Oh, that wasn't Puertas, was it? Or Patelis?
No, that wasn't a Spanish player, but I'm just thinking about in general, like the attitude a lot of people have towards women's football, where you go and win the Ballon d'Or, and I forget who said it, but it was like, "Can you twerk for us?" basically. And then you see like this, you're kissing the players on the mouth after the game. That's weird. I don't care. I know there are cultural differences in the world, but I don't. In Spanish culture, you don't kiss them on the lips. You don't do that. That's not what you do.
Yeah,
That was
so
where it was uncomfortable.
yeah. And I mean, European tradition at times you kiss on the cheeks, maybe that makes sense more, but just
Yeah,
kissing straight on
I
them,
could do that. But
especially when you're
lips,
the boss to an extent. Looking into that, it was the Norwegian soccer player Ada Herberg who won the Ballon d'Or, and a French DJ, Martin Solveig, asked her if she knew how to twerk. Quick response was no, and went
that's
about business.
well,
Absolutely kind of disgraceful stuff to be asking, I would say. Not ideal at all. But I don't.
yeah,
I
that's the
just
attitude that needs to change, man. That's the attitude that needs to change.
yeah.
I know there are a lot of men out there who think like it's a far inferior product, all this stuff. They deserve respect because at the end of the day, most of these, actually, like all these women would beat the vast majority of these dudes out there saying that they would outplay these women. That's not true. They're professional athletes. They've got better ball control than you. They're better. They are better. And obviously, it's a slower game. It's a different game than the men's game. But they still deserve the highest level of respect because they're
Yeah.
performing at the highest level and they are damn good and they dedicate their lives to it and they deserve respect. So when you see moments like this, it actually pisses me off because it is so disrespectful to them, the work they put in, and you're
And
basically treating them as inferior. By even giving them kisses on the lips after they won, you shouldn't be doing that. That is inappropriate as hell. And I
it
hope,
really it's
yeah, I hope like there is some form of punishment for him because that is terrible.
yeah, it's completely unacceptable, I would say. And I'm trying to find the guy's name. What was it? Oh, yeah, Luis Ruby Ales. I mean, I'm looking at stories of what he said, and he's like, "Oh, he should have been more careful." He said he was
That's
an
not a
idiot.
terrible thing. That's just
Don't. Just what are you doing?
that's like unfathomable to me that you would do that. Like I don't know. Maybe we're more sensitive to that stuff in the U.S. I don't know, but like you know what? No, Spain's in the West. Spain's in the Western world. You're sensitive to that. Like,
I
ah,
mean, my big thing is, which I don't know how you feel about this, but this is kind of taken away a little bit from
mhm.
the celebration. That, oh, Spain just won the World Cup. Let's celebrate them. It's now, oh, why is he doing this? Yada yada yada. Which that's
Yeah,
another issue at times with some women's sports is the outgoing issues that distracts from it, whether it's something like this or I'll say in one case the Brittany Griner incident,
yeah.
but it's stuff that they do. They end up with obviously they say no publicity is bad publicity, but
But
this kind of it all draws away from actually the important thing of watching them play the sport and all that. So
that's a great point because what we should be doing is celebrating the Spanish team for winning their first ever World Cup.
yep,
But instead, we have to focus on this jackass instead, who's
yep,
taking. Honestly, I feel like he's taking a lot of the tabloids away from them,
yeah,
especially in American media. We want to focus on that. We don't want to focus on the fact that Spain won. We don't want to give them the credit, which makes sense. We're Americans, But we put all our focus on that and take it away from the people who actually deserve it, which are all the players on the Spanish women's national team. They should be being celebrated right now. They should be heroes. Instead, we have to focus our efforts on this doofus. And like you said, it takes away from them, and that's not right.
Yeah, it's not acceptable, and it's like shout out Spain. I guess they did do what they needed to do after a 4-0 defeat to Japan, bounced back and went perfectly rest of the way. One more thing I do want to touch on the Women's World Cup really quickly because I thought this was just bizarre. The Australian national team, the Matildas, as they're nicknamed, are getting a statue built for them for a 4th place finish.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh my dude, like there are levels. Obviously, you're happy it's the furthest you've ever gone, but you didn't win shit. What are you building a statue for? Actually, what are you building a statue? We live in a culture now where we celebrate mediocrity, and it pisses me off. Don't get me wrong. It's great you made the semifinals, but you didn't win shit. Why are you building a statue? That's crazy to me.
You know what this has just reminded me of? Because it wasn't even like they won the 3rd place game. They finished 4th place.
Yeah.
The last time we saw someone celebrate a 4th place was when the Flint Tropics won the Flint Mega Bowl, if you've ever seen the movie Semi-Pro. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't seen that, but that's hilarious.
So it's like a spoof on the ABA and the NBA merger.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell leads it. It's the one where he's like granny style shooting, and they celebrate. Their whole goal is to finish 4th place. So the final game is they're just chanting, celebrating 4th place. This is what that reminds me of. You don't win anything, you get nothing out of it, but you get to celebrate being very mediocre.
You get a statue for not winning anything. That's crazy to me because at the end of the day, you're just like everyone else at the tournament. You're a loser. You're a loser. You're a loser. You're like everyone else.
Yep. I mean, I just don't get why. Like, sure, maybe it was a historic World Cup for them.
Why? Because they
hosted it. Exactly. But you build something to celebrate the whole World Cup. Like you build a statue of the trophy or something and just have it sit in a park like you do the Olympic rings. You don't build a trophy for this team celebrating a 4th place finish.
No, dude, that's great. And like you said, you build something to remind you of the tournament. Like I like that, like the Olympic rings. You always build that in that place at the spot of the village or whatever. When I go to ski at it's called Palisades now in Tahoe, but Squaw Valley, where they held the Olympics, you see the rings. It reminds you that the games were there. Yeah. That would be smart. That would be great. But why are you building a statue of a team that didn't win anything? That is crazy to me. That's virtue signaling to me. First of all, I feel like whoever did that, you're just trying to seem like you're like, oh, we got to celebrate them. Sure, like be proud of them, but don't celebrate them for not winning. Like they didn't win anything. Treat them the same as you would with a men's team. You wouldn't build maybe you would actually. I don't know how it works in Australia, but you shouldn't build a statue of anyone who doesn't go and win anything.
Yeah,
like if you're like a nation like Tahiti and you somehow qualify for the World Cup, build a statue. Yeah. That makes sense. But you're Australia, who is competitive and one of the best women's teams in the world. Build a statue when you win the damn thing.
Yep. And I mean, this was the first semifinal for any Australian men's or women's footballing soccer team. So I get that. You're excited. It is historic, but like, come on, man. Really? Yeah. What are you doing?
You should be doing better if you're Australia. You should be striving for the win. You shouldn't just be striving for best placement. You should be striving for the trophy. You're good enough.
I'm currently on I was doing more research into this as we were speaking, and the Australian Yahoo had a poll saying, should we build a statue to commemorate the Matildas? Yes, they made history. No, they only finished 4th. Which one do you think has more votes?
No.
Yep. 81% of the votes to 19 is no, they only finished 4th.
Because you didn't win.
That's the Australian people thinking about it.
Yeah, that whoever made that is the biggest virtue signal bullshit you'll ever see. That is, oh, we gotta celebrate them. They did all this. No,
Participation.
you treat them like they're professional athletes. They didn't win. You know, like if you go to the Olympics and you finish in 4th place, you don't get a fucking trophy. You go home empty-handed.
I don't even think you get a trophy at all if you finish 3rd in the World Cup.
No,
I think you don't get a medal. You might get a medal. Maybe.
I think you get a medal.
You get a pat on the back, and you're the first or second loser.
Yeah, congrats. You weren't even good enough to reach the final, but here you are. Yeah.
Yeah, you won. No, that's why I don't get it. I would personally scrap the whole 4th place or 3rd, 4th place game to begin with.
I'm with you on that because again, outside of a place where like the Olympics, it makes sense because you get a bronze medal. That's a huge deal. That's historical.
Oh yeah.
No one gives a shit. You're out. You're out. That's why the Euros don't have it because you're out. Like, wow. I don't know. I guess it's more opportunity to make money. So you're gonna play every damn game you can because of money. But
I mean, even like at times going to the Olympics, you say it's like a team sport or a one-on-one sport. You win the bronze medal. I always think you're more happy to win the bronze than you are to win silver.
Yeah, because you're probably like, oh, I'm just happy I made the podium versus, oh, I almost just won.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you see that when the Olympics happen, the excitement by people who are from maybe smaller countries where it's a lot of times, say, U.S. wins a gold or a silver, and someone else, maybe China wins the gold or silver. And then there's that person from Latvia who's just managed to steal the bronze away from someone. The excitement and the representation of that is just great. That's why I love the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for next summer. Next summer we get Olympics in Paris.
My cousin might get to go. For rowing.
So. To actually compete?
Yeah, he's on the national rowing team. He's good.
Out of curiosity, what rowing event would he be doing?
What was it? I think he's on an 8-man now, but I know he was doing the 2-man. Was that sculls?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing that. He almost went to the last Olympics, but now I think there's a legit shot. Like he goes to the World Championships. He does all this stuff. I don't know enough to talk on this. I don't know enough about rowing. Let's see. Yeah.
I only ask because I bought tickets to the Olympics when they first came on sale. I got up at 3 a.m, or actually stayed up after a night.
You already got them?
Yeah, so when they first came out, I was able to get into the lottery to get tickets for the Olympics.
Oh, bastard. When did you get them?
Let's see. When did I buy them? Beginning of May, like May 13th.
Wow. I bet they're all pretty like.
One of the events I got was rowing. So.
Dude, that could be sick.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just now have to decide if I actually want to go or not. Because, I mean, obviously I want to go, but is it easy to get hotels? Probably not. Can find places to stay. We'll see. But no, the Olympics are special.
Yeah. That was one of the coolest things I ever got to do. That was my first ever internship was with NBC during the last Winter Olympics. That was probably the coolest thing I've ever. Like the Olympics, I know we're mainly talking about soccer here, but I think the Olympics, man,
Olympics
are as great as it gets. Obviously, World Cup right here, Olympics right underneath, March Madness right here.
Yep, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Love me some March Madness, everything that goes with it. I'm going to be upset when they expand it to more teams because I think that's stupid. But.
Dude, I hope they keep it. And as much as I want to cover it one day, I think it's just as much fun to go to games.
I really want to go to Vegas for the first weekend.
Oh, that could be fun.
I hear that's just pandemonium. But no, Olympics, that must have been such a cool experience. What were you doing? Because you were on more of the broadcast side of things, weren't you?
Yeah, I was helping with production. They had a show like before prime time called like Ozone. It was Ozone. So I was helping with the production of that. So I was a lowly logger, so I'd have to log like interviews, features, stuff like that. So every press conference that went on during the Olympics, we covered and we logged. That was our job. But I also got to go through and like pick out clips that some of my producers would use in their pieces. So like some of the stuff you'd see in the show is stuff that I would dug through the archives and found. I got to help with sets, got to see the editing process, got to see Shaun White in person, which I didn't get a photo. I low-key fanned out for a second and like froze and was like, oh my God, it's Shaun White.
I've heard really bad stories about him. I hear he's the biggest asshole in the world.
Oh yeah, he is. But I still would have gotten that
Oh,
photo.
it's still Shaun White. You got to go and
I
stay
still
with him,
wanted the photo.
especially in his last Olympics.
Oh yeah. But
They
dude,
should be.
that was fun.
That
was fun.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. You more summer or winter Olympics?
I like summer more.
Okay.
Because I mean, you have again soccer, you have all these stuff. I think summer's a cooler, bigger thing, but winter's got its own little special place in my heart. You know, especially being a winter, like growing up in a winter kind of place,
Yeah.
skiing, all that. I'm still hopeful that one day, probably won't happen with global warming, but Reno could host the Winter Olympics. And the amount of money you have to put into it, but
I'd love to see a Tahoe Reno Winter Olympics.
Oh.
That'd be so cool.
that would be the best thing ever. But I'll take Salt Lake.
Yeah, I
That's
would.
the drive. That's an easy drive.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Salt Lake again. Also, that'd be sick. But one more thing on the Olympics I want to just bring up as far as winter goes. Love me some curling.
Oh my gosh, it is so awesome to watch.
I know I wrote a story because when I was interning at Vendetta was the last Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, can I do whatever this stuff? And she was like, absolutely. So I wrote a story on why curling was the best Winter Olympic sport to watch and why everyone needs to. Because I would be up I was in Arizona, so it was Pacific time, I think.
Yeah.
I'd be up at like midnight, 1 in the morning, just watching curling. It was amazing.
Dude, those games, they're fun to watch. You get into it and you're like, holy crap. And when the U.S. won the gold in 2018, that was maybe the most hyped thing in the Olympics I've ever seen. Because you're like, holy shit, we're going to win a gold in curling.
And it's just a bunch of average dads that just look like they decided they were at a bar and ended up at the Winter Olympics. It wasn't like other sports. That's what I like about curling is it looks like it's just – I know there's a shit ton of skill that goes into it. But it looks like it's a bunch of average guys just rolling up, cracking some brews, and just throwing the stones down, sliding the stones down the ice.
Can you imagine how fun those trainings are? You get to do all that, and then you just go and drink beer because you don't need to be that. Like you need to be flexible.
You need to have a core and good leg strength, but like
you can have core and not be very fit.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So, dude, I remember I wanted to go take curling classes or go to just do something curling after that. I still do.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there was at the time I was working at a ski shop in Arizona, and the 3 other guys I was working with were like, "Here's our goal: 2026 is the next Olympics, or it was the 2022 Olympics. 2026 will be the next Winter Olympics. Let's start curling.
Mm-hmm.
Make it to the Olympics because that'd be so cool to represent your nation." One way or another.
So you know how the Olympics has like a weird like kind of like nationality thing? They're way more loose with it than like FIFA is. So I was telling like my little brother, I'm like, bro, Irish bobsled team. You don't see one.
Yeah, you don't.
I got our ticket to the Olympics. Irish bobsled. We don't even have to be good. We just have to get the minimum acceptable standard, and we'll be in the game. We'll be like that Jamaican skier dude. You just gotta hit that one little thing.
So that's my ticket. My dad was born in Nigeria, so I'm trying to be the first Nigerian skier in the Olympics.
That's a real do it. That's exactly legitimately do that.
Find a way, because shit, Jackson. If we both end up at the 2026 Winter Olympics for bobsled and for Irish bobsled Nigerian skiing, I could die happy. That would just be so cool.
I'd be good at that point. I think I'm probably a little more behind my training than you would be with the skiing, but hey.
Hey, the Jamaican bobsled team didn't even see snow before they started training, so you're ahead of them.
Yeah, that's true. I've gone down a real sledding hill, so I've got that on them.
Exactly. Jackson, we are kind of going to wrap this up shortly. Is there anything else you want to discuss? Sports, anywhere?
Not really, but hey, college football is back now too, so
yeah.
Soccer in the morning, football in the afternoon. My Saturdays are going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to try and request Saturdays off for the foreseeable future from work. Get up at the crack of dawn, crack open a brew, watch football, and then more football, the American style for college. Then get into some UFC and more college football at night. It's going to be a 12, 13-hour day of just sitting there
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, dude, fall Saturdays, nothing hits better than them. And as
No.
soon as I actually am out of school and I'm like actually in the workforce, I know that that's just going to be my haven is
Oh.
Saturdays. Because I like Sundays too. I like NFL and all that, but college, dude,
Just
supreme for me.
everything about it and the atmosphere and everything that goes with college. Cannot wait. Jackson, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you guys, the viewer, maybe viewer at the moment, for watching us do what we do. Make sure you click that subscribe button to the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel or the Twitch page, depending on where you are watching. For Jackson and I, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you stay tuned for the Vendetta Sports Media Daily Show tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day and keep out there.